Canada has some of the most beautiful winters on the planet, and while some drivers may disagree, I love winter driving. I'm with the Genesis GV60 fully electric vehicle, and I've been driving it around Quebec for the most part of the day, and I'm here to tell you what it's like driving an EV in a Canadian winter, what you should look out for, things to be mindful of, and things that you can do to keep yourself safe on the road. In a perfect world, EVs would be driven in 23-degree weather with no rain, with no wind, and we'd all maximize our range through and through. Unfortunately, that's not the case, and as the weather changes, so does the performance of your electric vehicle. In this video, I'm going to walk you through what it's like to drive an EV in a Canadian winter, things to look for on the outside of a vehicle and to be mindful of, and as well on the inside. With rain and slush and snow and sleet and all the different things Mother Nature has to offer during winter, there are some things that you should be looking for in an EV as you operate it. First off, it's crucial to have proper winter tires on your vehicle. It just gives you more grip, more stability. You still have to be mindful of the inputs, but it gives you that added extra layer of maneuverability. Now, some things to keep an eye out for as you drive through snow are how much snow collects in the wheel wells, because with EVs, there's a lot of technology in the brakes, specifically up front, where you have your regeneration. So you don't want to have a lot of snow collecting in the wheel wells, possibly falling down into the brake components as well. So I'm not saying stop every 5 minutes and take a look. Maybe every hour, take a quick stop, get your snow brush out, and just kind of brush away any excess. On the GV60 vehicle that we're testing right now, there's a fair amount of gap between the top of the wheel and the wheel well and the wheel arch. So there's a low likelihood of it happening, but it's always better to err on the side of caution, especially driving in winter conditions. Also keep an eye on how much snow is accumulating in the rim. And the reason for that is, well, if there's a lot of snow on the rim, it offsets the balance. You get the wobbles, especially at higher speeds. So again, every half hour, 45 minutes, maybe even every hour, stop and use your snow brush to remove any collected snow. A lot of modern EVs have 4 cameras, one in the front, one in the rear, and one beneath each of these side mirrors. Plus, there's a lot of sensors in the front and rear bumpers. You want to make sure that they're working properly. So sometimes you'll get a message on your dashboard that says sensor blocked, sensor unable to be used, and 9.5 times out of 10, that's because there is some snow blocking that. So as part of your winter driving routine, if you see that, find a safe place to pull over, tap it either with your finger or the bristle side of your snow brush, just to remove any excess snow and have your sensors working in the best conditions possible. As we're driving the GV60 EV, I'm going to touch on rear visibility. There is no rear wiper, and despite it being on a pretty steep angle where gravity can take care of most of any of the snow or slush or dirt that collects, it's always a good idea to use some kind of repellent on your rear window, whether it's a Rain-X or a similar product. I apply mine every week. I drive a coupe as my primary car in the car that I own. I want to make sure I've got full visibility at all times, again, because that is really important, and you don't have that rear wiper as an extra asset to clear off any snow, slush, dirt, or debris. The majority of EVs do have various levels of regen braking. And the reason I'm touching on this is if you're on level 3, which is the closest thing to one-pedal driving, the moment you let off the accelerator, the car starts to slow down at a rapid pace and brings back as much of the charge as possible to the battery. Now, if you're on snow or slush or ice or anything other than ideal conditions, that sudden slowdown in speed may cause the vehicle to possibly not quite go out of control, but you wouldn't have the same amount of control that you do on regular clean and dry roads. So be mindful when you are using your one-pedal driving that as you let up on the accelerator, that it's not too harsh of a decline in speed, and you always want to be in control of the vehicle. And yes, multiple levels of regen braking can definitely help as far as bringing power back to the battery, but in less than perfect conditions, you want to make sure you're always in full control of the vehicle. Lights are such an important aspect of the vehicle because it helps you see what's in front of you, and it helps your drivers behind you see where you are and what you're doing. Almost every single EV now comes with LED headlights and taillights. Great technology, you can see further as opposed to a halogen bulb. However, they don't heat up like halogen bulbs do. And the drawback to that is if you're driving in snow or slush or anything that can collect on the vehicle, you won't have the heat from the halogen lights to melt them off as in previous vehicles. So as part of your pre-vehicle check, make sure your lights are fully visible at all times. If you are driving through snow, make it part of your routine. If you pull over to check the snow collecting in the wheel wells as well as the rims, brush them off. Some EVs also have door handles that collapse into the door itself, and there's a risk of them being frozen. Do not pour boiling water on them. That is a surefire way to get yourself in a whole lot of trouble, and you can easily avoid a costly repair. Gently tap on the door handle to loosen it. It's still powered, so you can't just keep pushing the lock and unlock button in hopes of loosening the ice. Use a gentle tap to loosen all of the ice surrounding it. There is also a manual way to get around it by putting a key in, but the important takeaway here is do not pour boiling water on it. Do not adjust the temperature really quickly, because if you're going from freezing cold to boiling hot, things change size. It's an easy way to damage your vehicle unnecessarily. Bonus points that apply to all vehicles, and since we're covering EVs in winter, I'm going to mention it anyway. Make sure your wiper blades are in as close to perfect, if not perfect, operating condition. Make sure your washer fluid is topped up. Keep an extra jug in there with you. Again, it's not specific to an EV, but since we're covering winter driving, these two are critical components as far as forward visibility goes. Moving on to the inside, another big concern in EVs during winter driving is range, and how much you're going to lose and how much it's going to be affected by the colder weather. So first off, it depends on each specific EV and the temperature. It's not a blanket figure where if it's minus 10 degrees, you're going to lose X% of your range. Again, every vehicle is different, every battery is different, each weather condition is specifically different, but know that in anything below 0 degrees Celsius or 32 degrees Fahrenheit, the battery range will be affected. Now, it's affected on regular days, whether you're using your HVAC system or you're doing different drive modes, how you drive, what's in the vehicle, what kind of roads you're on. But as far as winter driving goes in an EV, just because your vehicle may be rated for 400 kilometers, bank on that being a little lower. Again, there's no specific number, but it will be lower. Yes, you'll have something on your dashboard showing you the number of kilometers remaining on your charge, but that number may go down a little quicker than expected during some of the colder weather. The intensity of your fan speed also makes a big difference. I can't imagine anyone keeping the heat off during winter driving, so it's going to be on maybe 1, maybe 2. Now, a little hack that our own Jill McIntosh taught me is that if you put your heated seat on, chances are you'll put your HVAC fan on a lower speed because your body is warmer because of the immediate heat transferred from the seat, and if equipped, the outboard rear passengers as well. So there's your little hack as far as saving a little bit of juice on your battery when driving an EV in winter. Last touch on heated seats and a heated steering wheel, and I'm going to speak to the GV60 because that's the vehicle I'm in. The heated seats do work pretty quick. There's 3 stages up front, and the heated steering wheel also works incredibly quickly. Drive modes play a key part in how much range you have. In the GV60, which I'm in, we have Eco, Comfort, and Sport. The majority of drivers will live in Comfort mode. If you go to Eco, you'll get a little bit of range back, you'll lose a little bit of the responsiveness, and if you go into Sport mode, it's the opposite. You gain responsiveness, but you lose out on a little bit of range. So what I do for all the EVs that I test drive in winter conditions, I keep it in Comfort. It's that nice balanced setting. And as far as the Regen side of things go, I keep it on level 1. So I get a little bit of tug, which brings back a little bit of power, but it's not as strong and forceful as keeping it on level 3. Hopefully you found these tips and techniques helpful for your winter driving in an EV. If you've got any questions, let us know in the comments. We'll be happy to hear from you. For Driving.ca, I'm Jay Canna. For more news, reviews, and information you can use on electric vehicles and hybrids, connect with us at our website, which is Driving.ca, and engage with us on our social media platforms.